It's really important that no matter what area of your life you're focused on improving, whether it is your health or body or relationships or career and finances or spirituality, is that we start to look at all of these things as the totality of who we are. And to be a happy, whole individual, we really can't neglect any of those. And when we neglect any area for too long, well, that's when we start to become imbalanced. So as you're starting to listen to these today, think of the entire totality of you, the holistic version of you in both body and mind. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you here today on a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday on the Cabral Concept. I'm Dr. Stephen Cabral, board certified doctor of naturopathy. Excited to be able to do these Monday shows with you. Every once in a while, I love to be able to explain how is it and why is it I would be doing a motivational or inspirational based show as part of an overall integrative health-based practice. And if you've read the Rain Barrel Effect before, if you've gone through the de-stress protocol, you understand that about half, so 4 out of my 8 healing modalities come down to essentially stress, emotions, mindsets, and the overall toxicity in which we live in. Like it really is a big thing. And so when I'm helping people heal, and I've been doing this now for a number of years and been very fortunate to be able to help hundreds of thousands of people, is that I see the commonalities in what works and the commonalities in what doesn't work. And what I've realized is that everyone can heal, no doubt about it. Everybody can heal. But the people who don't, what ultimately happens is that they let the stress and the anxiety and the fears and all of those mindset-based things overwhelm them to the point where stress overcomes the body. And no amount then of sleep or meditation or supplementation or anything else is able to overcome how strong that stress is in the nervous system, because the nervous system then begins to throw off the immune system. And we have a whole terminology for that with the endocrine system, so the stress affecting the nervous system, affecting the immune system. So endoneuroimmunology is what we call it, but that's a show for another day, and we've talked about that many times in the show. But I just wanted to share with you that these Monday shows are as important, I really believe this, than any of the health shows I could bring you specifically on how to help with autoimmune or adrenals or thyroid or gut or migraines or skin or anything else, right? Because what ultimately matters is not the protocol that a practitioner gives you. You do need that. There's no doubt about it. And it matters what your labs say and the toxicities and the deficiencies you find. But what you need to make sure is that you can make these results stick for life. And that's what I hope to share with you on these Mindset and Motivation Monday shows. So real applicable life lessons. And I want to go over one here today. And this is more of a learning. This is something that I wanted to share with you as we're kind of closing in on the year. And of course, you can listen to this any time of the year that you'd like. But it's 5 powerful life lessons that I've really just accumulated and been thinking a lot about lately. And I see them kind of pop up as quotes on Instagram. I see them pop up maybe in like a LinkedIn motivation that someone's trying to give someone. But it's really important that no matter what area of your life you're focused on improving, whether it is your health or body, or relationships, or career and finances, or spirituality, is that we start to look at all of these things as 5 parts, if we want to look at them as 5 parts of the totality of who we are. And to be a happy, whole individual, we really can't neglect any of those. And when we neglect any area for too long, well, that's when we start to become imbalanced. So as you're starting to listen to these today, think of the entire totality of you, the holistic version of you in both body and mind. All right, so the first powerful life lesson I want to share with you is be careful sharing all of your plans, even with those that you trust and love. What does that mean? So I always share the story many years ago. When I was about to build out, meaning pay for, put my life savings into my very first health-based location that I rented. So basically you can rent a retail space and you can build it out, meaning like you need to fix it up, put down the floor that you want, purchase the equipment, all those different things, hire a team. All of those things are expensive. And when I started to share that with some family, they tried to talk me out of it, for lack of a better way. And the reason why they did that was purely out of love. They just didn't want me to take on that risk. They didn't want to see me use my life savings. They didn't want me to potentially fail and how much that would set me back. But that's why we have to be careful. So for whatever reason, I was stubborn. It was just enough stubbornness, right? Or probably a lot of stubbornness to say, you know what, despite what they say, I'm going to make it happen. I know I can do this. It's what I meant to do. I was meant to share, what I've learned works. And that was essentially why I went after it. And I had this belief, and I had done it at other locations and other health clubs, et cetera. And I said, you know what, I can make this work. I can make it happen. But looking back at that, and I was very young, I was somewhere between 26 years old, 27 years old when I opened my first location. And before that, I had consulting, I had all that, but I didn't have a lot of overhead. And when you take on overhead, well, that you're putting your financial well-being on the line, and that can also lead to a lot of stress. Now, that's just one thing, but also health is another. Once I started to not get well, meaning I was working with practitioners from 17 years old to, all the way up to 27 years old and beyond that, of course. But when I looked at it, I stopped sharing with people after the age of 23, 24 years old of what I was doing. Because people they wouldn't roll their eyes, but they'd be like, yeah, okay, what's the next thing you're going to try? Okay, what's the next thing you're going to try? None of this has worked out. You're spending all your money on trying to get well, all your money on trying to get healthy, and it hasn't gotten you anywhere. So just, again, even with people that you love and you trust, just be careful, because they have your best interest in mind, and they don't want to see you wasting your money, wasting your time, being upset again. And I get it. I understand that. But sometimes deep down who you are and what you need to do, and you need to follow your own path. So that's my first piece of advice. The second one out of these 5 life lessons are prioritize right from the start your mental health and well-being while still living life. So here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there talking right now that you need to prioritize mental health over everything and, quit your job, quit everything. I think you have to be really careful with that, because what happens is, yes, in the short term, it's like going on a dramatically low carb diet or no carb diet. Yeah, in the short term, what do? Okay, well, you don't feed the gut microbiome. That can be good if you have candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, et cetera. In the short term, what else can you do? Okay, you can lose weight in the short term, but you're not going to be able to stick with that long term, and it can actually mess up your metabolism, gut microbiome, and insulin sensitivity to a greater degree, and slow your metabolism and thyroid to a greater degree, and increase stress hormones to a greater degree, and create estrogen dominance and all these issues, right? So we have to be careful. So what I would say is this: prioritize mental health while also not making your life worse in the long term. And so what it typically means is taking a step back and it's looking at your life in a different way, and not saying yes in the moment right now to more. So you can't say no to everything, because you still have to live your life. And I just have not seen this work out for people. And that's why I share it with you, because I want to be very sensitive to this. And I was there, believe me, I was there in my early and mid 20s. I was there. So here's the thing though. I would be overseas and I'd be studying in my internships. This was later 2000s. And I would see people go to an Ayurvedic retreat or ashram or whatever it might be, and they were just escaping life. Now, temporarily, people may need to do that, but people were there for months at a time. And the only problem is that they would have difficulty assimilating back then into regular life. And eventually, most people need to get back into regular life. And so what I say to you is this: create a period of time of no, and I'll be doing another podcast on this, where you don't take on extras. And you simply try to do what you're doing right now and begin to look at what are the needle movers? What are the things that are really holding you back and making you more anxious, more depressed? Become a little bit more self-aware. Begin to journal more. Don't think that you have to figure it all out. And then find a good therapist or life coach or counselor that's going to be able to help you very slowly work through these things, while maintaining, there's nothing wrong with maintaining for a period of time while you are prioritizing that mental health. So this also means that once a quarter, you may need to take a little break. 3 days off, 3-day weekend, 5-day weekends, 1 week off, to just recalibrate, to say, okay, where am I? Let's assess the last quarter, take a little break, relax, recharge. All right, now we get back at it. Never be afraid to do that. It shouldn't be all grind all the time. Number 3 is this: be okay with people not liking you. This is something that's very interesting, because I work with a lot of our integrative health practitioners, These are certified health coaches. They're building their own practice. They have to understand is like, they're worried about what people will say online. Okay, in the beginning, nobody really says too much because you're only reaching out to your like circle, your community. But as you get bigger and bigger, more and more people follow you. Keep in mind, like 1 out of 100 people won't agree. And that's okay. And so, but the problem is this. So you get comments, people liking you, they think you're great, they love your information. And then one person, like out of 100 comments, says, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're harming people. And they have their own point of view. You have to understand that there are many people in this world who all they're looking to do is be negative. All they're looking to do is spread hate or spread agony. Because why? Because hurt people hurt people. I don't know. Like I'm telling you right now, no one I hang around with, like none of my colleagues would ever hop on someone's Instagram comments and just tell them how terrible they are and they don't know what they're talking about. Because unless the person is literally trying to be a lightning rod for controversy, and that's a different story. You're kind of then just saying, yeah, I'm asking for it. But if someone's saying like, one of the best ways in order to be able to heal your thyroid is to look at your iodine levels. Are you consuming? Are you getting enough iodine? Like that's just I'm giving you one example. That's all, right? And someone will come in and say, you have no idea what you're talking about. Iodine actually makes your thyroid worse. And they'll go into all of these things because they read an article or they listened to one person that said iodine's bad for the thyroid when they don't, if they really looked into the physiology, well, you need at least some level of iodine to be able to make the proper amount of thyroid hormone. But like the thing is, you're always going to get one person. You can't allow that one person to stop you from reaching your full potential and doing what you were meant to do. So I share that with you because you're never going to be liked by 100% of the people, and that's okay. Number 4 is this. The best laid plans have bumps in the road, meaning that all of life is about ebb and flow. So if we want to look at it another way, there are peaks and valleys to life. By doing our best, our absolute best, by staying focused on a positive future, by giving gratitude, and by having perspective when times are tough, the best that we can do is have lower lows and potentially stay on our highs longer. That's the whole goal. Ride out the highs for as long as you can with the understanding that there are always going to be challenges and obstacles in our life. It goes back to a little bit of the book that I was speaking about last Friday on the Friday review, is that the universe will test you at times. It will see how steadfast you are to reaching your goals. I'm not sure that it does it on purpose. I'm not sure if it's just not part of the divine plan or the plan of this world, because there are levels to every single game. So with career, with health, with body transformation, with relationships, with spirituality, there always seems to be since the dawn of time, or specifically writing, that you would be tested and you have to pass that test. And it seems that test comes up over and over until we master it. So what I would share with you is this. Sometimes the obstacles that we encounter in life are not there to prevent us from living our best life, but they're actually there to teach us something, so that we can establish and experience a life that we never even thought was possible. So your hardest times, when you look back, you learn the most from, no doubt about it. All right, and the 5th and final one is this. Don't live in the past or worry about the future. Easier said than done, right? Living in the past leads to depression. And I'm being sensitive around this. I totally understand that this is not the only thing. I get it. I totally understand that, right? But we get depressed when we live in the past and we worry about what things went wrong, or maybe we won't get back to those good times. And worry about the future leads to anxiety. We're worried about what might happen, yet it may never happen, but yet we're still worrying about it and bringing it to our present moment. So our present moment is filled with agony and sadness about the past, as well as anxiety and overwhelm about the future. So we never get to enjoy that present day. So all I ask of you is this, is that we learn from the past. We learn from those mistakes. We say, thank you. I appreciate that. I have gratitude and perspective now. Gratitude for where I am today, perspective to understand that maybe these things happen for me and not to me, so that I can learn from them, that I can grow, and I can make sure I don't repeat those in the future, or maybe pass them down to my children or in my work or whatever it might be. So learn from your past, plan for your future, because it does matter. You don't want to live just in the moment, right? Plan for the future, but live for today. Make sure that you understand that tomorrow is not a given. So we all want to live, hopefully you want to live for a long, healthy life. Like that's the thing, is like the Ayaboan, right? May you live a long, healthy, blessed life. But we don't know. We don't know what the universe's plan is. We don't know what God's plan is all the time. So we have to understand is that we have to at least enjoy today as much as we can. Some days, obviously, harder than others. But live for today. Plan for tomorrow, learn from the past, live for today. Hopefully today's show was helpful. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for tuning into the show. Please do share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.